Hey yogis, I'm Sarah from Sacred Lotus Yoga. For today's class, we're going to focus on cultivating mindfulness through therapeutic yin style practice. We're going to slow things down and build a connection with each present moment, bring your awareness to our emotions and sensations within the body. A cushion and a blanket would definitely come in handy today, so if you can, go grab them and I'll be waiting for you on the mat. So we're starting out today in a comfortable seat, crossing our legs at our ankles and just allowing our knees to drop heavy towards the mat. Maybe you want to sit up on your cushion just for a little bit more height on the hips. Just can be a little bit more comfortable. Also sit with a bit more height and the knees to drop. Just resting the hands, palms facing towards the sky, shoulders rolling down your back. Begin to very gently close your eyes. Because today's class is all about mindfulness, about connecting with the present moment. I'm just going to take a few deep breaths and allow ourselves to really settle in, welcoming ourselves on the mat, and welcoming ourselves into our body, into this present moment. Beginning to become aware of each inhale and each exhale. And beginning to bring more awareness and length to the breath by inhaling to a count of 4, holding, and exhale to a count of 4. Inhale to a count of 4, pause, and exhale. Inhale, pause, and exhale. Inhale, pause, exhale. The last round. Inhale, pause, and exhale. Allow your breath to return to normal. And just welcome a sense of quiet and stillness inside the body. Maybe set an intention for the class today. Maybe just stay present throughout. Whatever you'd like your intention to be. We'll just try and hold this through the class. And return to our intention, to our breath, whenever we feel ourselves drifting out. And gently begin to blink your eyes open. Bring yourself back into the room. And then make our way into our first pose today, into Child's Pose. Gently coming over to hands and knees. I'm going to bring our big toes to touch and send our hips back towards our heels. So you want your knees roughly about hip-width distance apart, not too wide, not too close together. Begin to walk the arms forward to allow the chest to melt down towards the mat. We're resting your forehead down onto the mat. If it feels a little bit too far away to begin with, you can always bring your cushion and rest it under the forehead. Just a little bit more support, or to make the pose a little bit more restorative. And begin to bring the hands down along the body. So you're allowing your shoulders to drape over the knees. And you're releasing and letting go the weight of the arms. Today's class is a yin style practice. We're going to hold these poses from anywhere to 2 to 3 minutes to allow ourselves to really release and reconnect. Begin to become aware of the weight of the body, noticing the points of the body that are connecting with the mat. Noticing the crown of your head as you notice your forehead as it rests onto your cushion or your mat. As you draw that awareness down your face, into your jaw, as you release any tension, and you soften your shoulders, allow them to become heavier. As the weight of your shoulders hangs heavier towards the mat, and your arms melt down. Noticing your spine as it gently rounds, as the muscles release and soften, and the hips gently opening. And down towards the legs as they support your body, connecting with the mat, the tops of your feet, down to your toes. So just noticing that you have nothing to do in this class other than be present in your body. Let go of any expectations. Don't worry about where you think you should be or what the pose should look like. Today's class is all about the sensations, about how we feel and what we feel. Take another deep inhale and exhale as you gently come out of the pose. You use your hands and softly bring your forehead off the mat. Bring yourself back up, sitting onto your heels. You can just place the cushion just up towards the top of the mat. You might use it again in a moment. We're going to make our way down into Sphinx pose from here. If you have sensitive knees at all, you can always place your blanket under the knees. It can be quite nice because we hold these poses a few minutes just to have that extra padding. So we're going to walk our bodies along on the mat. Coming down onto the belly. I'm going to stay up onto the forearms. So what's important here is that you don't have any sharp tension in the lower back. So extend the legs long, probably about hip-width distance apart. Just allow the weight of the belly to hang towards the mat. And notice if you feel any sharp pain in your lower back. If you do, you want to walk your arms away from the body. This will just ease the lower back. But roughly, once you feel okay, you want your elbows in line under the shoulders and roughly about shoulder width distance apart. When you inhale, begin to bring the gaze forward. Just roll the shoulder blades down your back as we come into Sphinx. Gently begin to close your eyes. You could begin to drop the weight out of the head and connect with the body. Soften every muscle. So the only thing that's holding you into place are your arms. Your feet are hanging heavy. We're reconnecting with our breath. As we inhale full through the nose, we send the breath down through the spine. We release the breath back up through the body, back out through the nose. As we hold this pose for a few breaths, maybe you might feel you want to take it deeper. Only if you do, you might want to come up into seal pose, and beginning to lift the forearms away from the mat. And just beginning to roll the shoulder blades down the back. Again, like with Sphinx pose, the closer the arms are into the body, the deeper the pose. So no matter where you are, Sphinx or seal, close the eyes and feel the sensations within. Noticing all thoughts running through your mind, any plans, worries, anything that might be going on. Just notice it. Let it drift by and let go. Try to become aware of your breath. Use your breath to hold your awareness. Notice what's going on. Don't worry about the day just gone or the day ahead. Just become present within this exact moment. Notice how the lower back feels. Taking 2 last breaths. And if you're in seal, coming down to the Sphinx. And then we're all going to meet with our forehead onto our hands. Place one hand on top of the other. Walk the elbows nice and wide. And very softly rest the forehead down onto the hands. And gently wiggle the hips side to side. Just to shake out any tension. Coming out of the pose, bring your hands either side of your shoulders, press yourself up, and just take a brief child's pose. Big toes touch, hips towards the heels, rest the forehead down. Just a counter stretch, the lower back, and to really feel the changes within the body. And gently come up, sitting onto your heels. We're going to make our way from here into Pigeon Pose. So it's quite an intense pose for the hips. So really, take it slow, listen to what the body's telling you, don't go too far. So again, it's a really good idea to keep a blanket in line under the knees. So plant the hands, come into tabletop. We'll start with the right knee. And bring my blanket a little bit further up. Begin to extend the right leg towards the back of the mat. Bring the right knee into the chest, and we're going to place the right knee in line beside the right hand. We're going to roughly halve the foot over towards the left hand. Now don't worry too much if the foot's quite far back. You just want the toes roughly pointing out towards the side. Then begin to walk that leg towards the back of the mat. Come up nice and tall, so begin to come up onto the fingertips, finding length and height through the spine. Square off the hips so we're not collapsing either side, but we're sitting nice and tall. You want to make sure we're protecting the joints. Notice the knee, there's nothing sharp, there's no pain. If you do, back out of this pose. If you feel you can go deeper, walk the body in. It's yin, take your time. There's no rush with yin. Once you're here, plant the hands. If this is enough for you, lovely, stay right here, perfect. You want to go deeper if you have that space and your body's inviting you to go in. Maybe come down into the forearms. Take a breath, notice where you're at. If you feel perfect, this is where I want to be, lovely, stay here. Again, maybe you want to go deeper. Coming down, maybe resting the forehead onto your cushion and soften the hands. If you're here, allow the palms to face up towards the ceiling. So we're letting go of any weight or tension in the shoulders. So we're softening every other part of the body that we don't need to use. Breathing deep into that right hip. These deep hip openers are wonderful poses when we're trying to release any unwanted tension, emotions. Such a great pose. We tend to hold a lot of stress and tension in our hips. So these deep hip openers allow us to create that space, get deep into the muscles. So you might notice some emotions rising up. Anger, sadness, maybe joy and happiness. Allow whatever arises to come up. Don't hold it in. Notice it. Become aware of what we're holding on to. Use your breath to stay in the pose. Gently begin to bring ourselves back out wherever you are. So coming back up, high onto the hands. If you're not there already, just lengthen back to the spine. Just a slight back bend, just to release out of the hip. Plant the hands. I'm just going to step the right leg towards the back of the mat. Let's come back into tabletop. Extend the right leg, just stretching towards the back of the mat. Maybe the foot, the toes are planted. You're pressing to the heel. You're shaking the hips. Just whatever feels good for you. Whatever movements you need to make. Rock back and forth. And then when you're ready, we'll come over to the opposite side. Now it's very important when we go into the next side to notice no two sides of our body are the same. So really listen. This side of the body might be really tight, or maybe you can go deeper. This is where we really connect. We notice what's going on. Extend the left leg. Draw the knee into the belly. Left knee comes in line beside the left hand. And the foot is roughly over towards the right side of the mat, or pointing back. As I say, it's your body. It doesn't matter where you think you should be, or what this pose you think it should look like. It's all about finding the sensations, noticing where your body's at. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands. Square the hips. Take a breath, settle in. Notice where you are. Maybe come down onto the forearms. Maybe take it deeper and soften the forehead to the cushion. Or maybe you can go a little bit deeper on this side. Maybe rest the forehead onto the hands. And begin to settle back in. Soften with each exhale. Release and let go. We spend so much of our time rushing around trying to get to the next task, trying to get to the next moment in our life, but we rarely spend time just focusing on that exact moment that we're in and noticing how we feel. If you find yourself in a stressful moment, wherever you might be, in work, at home with the kids, wherever at all, or in school, studying, you find everything all just gets too much, just take a step back. Take a breath. Notice what it is, what emotion it is that's cropping up, and let it go. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling. Staying with your breath. Release. And gently begin to come out of the pose. Lift the head, bring the hands up. Lengthen through the spine. Making your way back into our tabletop. Extend the left leg. Bring the toes. Make any movements that you need to. Just bringing some movement, some life back into the hip. And from here, we're going to work into frog pose. It's a really deep pose. So again, like we do at every pose, take it to your own limits. Notice your body and work into the pose. So from here, we want to walk the legs nice and wide. So you want to keep your hips in line with the knees. So you come into the pose, it'll become a little bit more obvious. Bring the cushions so it's somewhere nice and easy to grab. I want to bring the feet roughly flexed in line beside the knees and begin to sink the hips down. It's quite an intense pose for the knees, so make sure you have some padding if you need to. Stay up nice and high as we begin on the hands. And then notice the hips, that we're not too far forward or not sinking too far back. We're in between. The hips are roughly in line with the knees, the feet are flexed, and we're beginning to sink into the body. So either staying high up on the hands, begin to come down onto the forearms, or maybe you want to just bring the hands onto the cushion for a little bit of padding to be nice and comfortable too. If this pose is totally not accessible for you and it's way too deep, just come out of it. You absolutely don't need to rest in it. You can always just come into a child's pose, keeping the knees nice and wide. But if you're here in frog pose, maybe you feel you can melt down even deeper and begin to rest the forehead down towards the cushion. Sinking down and releasing. I'll only be here for about 10 breaths. So just take it to where you feel you can comfortably go. Release and soften with each exhale. Notice how we hold the pose, that we can gently go deeper, that we begin to find ease and softness. Maybe the body sinks deeper. After your next exhale, we're going to very gently unwind out of the pose. Pressing into the hands, making our way back up, and gently walk the knees back into center. Come back to sitting onto our heels. And from here, just going to bring our legs out in front of us. So you can plant the blanket over towards the side. Bring your legs out in front. Bring the pillows to the side. And gently drop the knees side to side, just to shake off any tension, any weight in the hips. And come into butterfly pose from here. I'm going to bring the soles of the feet to touch. Sitting nice and tall. Bring the feet as comfortably close to the body as you can. Roll the shoulder blades down away from the ears. And begin to hinge forward. Just slightly to where you feel you can't go anymore, so it's only going to be a slight forward fold. And just begin to allow the body to hang heavy. So we're slightly rounding the back, dropping the head. You could maybe place the cushion under the arms for a little bit more padding. And just put it off to the side. Just allowing the knees to become heavy. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Noticing how quiet the mind has become. Notice how with each exhale, the muscles in the body begin to soften. And as we release, we begin to work deep into the fascia, allowing us to find more movement and flexibility while we release any unnecessary emotions, worries, stress. And we find comfort, ease, and acceptance in our pose. Gently begin to come back out of the pose, look towards the top of the mat. Press into the hands as you walk them back towards the body. Lengthen the spine so the head is the last thing to come up to center. Just extend the legs nice and long, stretching through the feet. And from here, we're going to come to shoelace pose. So we're going to begin to bending the left knee down. I'm going to begin to bring the right knee to rest on top of it. Now this might feel way too tight to you, and if it does, you can always just stay in butterfly pose. So resting the right knee on top of the left. If you're not feeling too much, you can always walk the feet, bring them further away from the body. That will intensify the pose, but it's important to make sure the hips are both grounded, rooted, connected with your mat. Inhale, find length through the spine. And then exhale, you can gently just begin to drop the head. Begin to round the spine as we fold over. You could maybe plant your cushion between the body and the legs. Or you could plant it down and rest your arms down onto the cushion. Again, just use your props just to make this pose as comfortable as you possibly can. As we fold in, drop the weight out of the head. Soften through the body. Release any tension. Release any effort. The longer we hold these poses, the more the mind will want to drift. And start coming up with plans. Start thinking about the past or the present. Just notice it. Don't try and stop it. Just notice what's flowing by. Put it aside for later. And bring yourself back by using your breath to guide you. Finding each inhale and each exhale. Notice the pause at the top of the breath and at the exhale. Staying for another 2 breaths. And gently begin to come out of the pose, unwinding, and walk the hands back towards the body. Stretch the legs out in front of you. Plant both feet onto the mat, moving really gently. Such intense poses for the legs and for the hips. Just moving as gentle and soft as you can. Dropping the knees side to side, allowing the hips to gently peel away from the mat as you drop the knees to the left. And the hips come away from the mat. I'm going to move into the next side. So from here, I'm going to cross. Bringing the left leg down onto the mat, begin to rest the right knee on top. Keeping both hips glued down onto the mat. The sitting bones are rooted down towards the earth. Sitting nice and tall, finding the length. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to drop the gaze, drop the head, and very softly begin to round the spine. As we did before, maybe you want to place your cushion in between the legs and the belly, or maybe just under the arms. Very gently begin to round the spine. If you feel any tension in the lower back, you can always just say sitting nice and tall with the head dropped down. Listen to your body, go to where you need to. Just remember, this is yoga. We're not trying to get into our ultimate, our final pose. We want to enjoy the journey. Experience the body as we find more space, as we develop our flexibility. As we notice the sensations in the body, as we begin to open up. Notice each subtle movement. As we hold these poses a few breaths, the body begins to unwind. Muscles soften and you can go deeper. You find ease. Keep that awareness with the breath. Gently begin to press into the hands. As we unwind your way out of the pose, walk the hands towards the body. Bring the legs out in front of you. And drop the knees side to side. Just shaking out the hips, shake out the legs. And make our way over onto our back. Take your cushion with you. We're going to plant it under the sitting bones. So keep your feet planted onto the mat. Come down lying flat on the mat. Bring the cushion, I'm going to rest it under the sitting bones. Coming into my absolute favorite pose. Begin to extend the legs. They might feel a little bit tight after we've done such deep work into the hips and into the legs. So I'm going to extend the feet up towards the sky. And just allow the legs to drop. So allow the legs, the weight of the legs to drop into the body. Maybe the knees are deeply bent, maybe they're straight. We're just working on releasing. So don't worry if they're straight or they're bent. Nestle the shoulder blades under the body. Rest the arms either side. And just begin to completely release, relax, and let go. This is my favorite pose. We're just trying to relax. Refreshing the body. Finding some clarity. It gives the body a chance to get back to normal. It's one of the most restorative poses, having our legs extended. Sometimes it can be nice to do this with the legs resting against the wall, even in your bed. This allows the heart to take a break. It pumps the blood through the body. We allow the blood just to rush back up towards the head. Gently come out of the pose. Begin to bend the legs, hugging into the belly. They might feel a little bit tingly, so maybe just shake out the feet, wiggle the toes. Coming into our final pose, into Shavasana. Use your props. Maybe you want to rest your cushion under your knees, under your head, and rest your blanket over you. Keep yourself nice and warm. Extend your arms long away from the body. Nestle the shoulder blades under. Feet flop to the sides. And everything becomes soft, becomes heavy, melts into the mat. I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana. I hope at the end of this practice you feel you've gained a little bit more presence in the body. The mind feels a little bit more quiet. You found some clarity, some stillness and space. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Namaste.